I've just come off the most amazing Zoom call with a client of mine who runs a law firm, and they were struggling to think of content that they could produce for a private podcast. Within 15 seconds, we'd found the answer. All I did was I went on their website, I had a look on their blog section, and they were literally producing a blog post every single week from their marketing department. And the content inside that blog post was absolutely beautifully perfect for short 5-minute golden tip style episodes.
Welcome to the Making Digital Real podcast from Mike Roberts.
Because let's face it, there is an extraordinary amount of brilliant content sitting out there on the internet doing absolutely nothing. And you may even find that that statement right there is you on your website. You've got the content already. Blogs, whether they're thoughtful ones, well-written ones, smart ones, these are blog posts that took time, energy, and experience to create. And they're just sitting there. Nobody's reading them. Nobody's sharing them. No one's talking about them. And every time I see this, I do think the same thing. That blog is already a podcast, which you just haven't recorded yet. All right, so let me set the scene. So if you've ever written a blog post, you've already done the hard part, right? You've thought something through and you've structured the idea, you've formed an opinion, you've explained something in your own voice. And that's absolutely perfect. Because what most people assume is that podcasting means you have to start from scratch with new ideas, new energy, new formats, and let's face it, new pressure. But it doesn't. Sometimes all it means is we just need to change the container. So here's the shift that I want to inspire you to make today. Instead of asking, what should I create next? Ask yourself this question. What have I already created that could be heard instead of read? And I'm just going to go through my three favorite ways that people should be inspired to make a podcast. So number one, you're no longer text on a PDF or a screen. People are listening to you. They've already started the journey of working with you when they're listening to you in their ears. People have screen fatigue. They want to consume content without being sat in front of a screen. Another tick in the box. And they don't have to just hear from you. Remember my other favorite strategy? Let's collect voice messages from clients that you've already worked with. Let's use SpeakPipe to collect those free, very simple voice messages, and let's stitch them on to each one of your episodes. Now, your future clients are not just listening to you, but they're listening to your clients as well. You can't get that through text on a screen. Okay? Your blog posts, they're perfect for private podcasts. They already have a beginning, a middle, and an end. They already reflect how you think, and they already hold your expertise. So they don't need to be rewritten. You don't need to perform it. They just need speaking about. Okay? And that distinction absolutely matters in my opinion. Now, why am I talking about using your blog posts as a private podcast rather than a public one? Okay, so first of all, public platforms are quite noisy. There's tons of podcasts out there. Everybody's talking about something and optimizing. Everyone's fighting for attention. Private podcasts are different because when somebody opts into your private podcast, as I've said before, they show up differently, okay? They are actually listening. No scrolling, no distractions. They are absolutely there and present. And your blog content, spoken calmly into someone's ears, suddenly lands in a very, very different way. Okay? You don't need to be on camera. You don't need to be dancing about for TikTok reels, and you certainly don't need to be chasing trends or clicks or likes. You can take something that you wrote 6 months ago or 3 years ago, sit down with your microphone or your phone. You don't need any fancy equipment for this. I'm literally using my iPhone right now to record this, and I've enhanced it using the software that I use when I'm editing for clients. So yeah, you can take something you wrote years ago and you can guide your listeners through it. One blog becomes one mini episode. A blog series becomes a private podcast series. And those old posts that you did back in the day, they become evergreen audio. Okay, it's so effective. Plus it can work for memberships, client onboarding, lead magnets, private feeds. Just private podcasts are perfect for so many different things. And it's so powerful for people who think better when they speak rather than when they write. So here's a little quick word of caution before we end, because this is where a lot of people kind of fall at the hurdles. Don't go try reading your blog word for word like an audiobook, because that's not really the vibe. What I want you to do is take that blog post from back in the day, and I want you to expand on the ideas, maybe add some context, or share what you'd say if someone asked you about it over a coffee chat, let's say. A little bit less polish and more presence. And if you stumble, like I do often, fine. If you have to pause, great, because that is what sounds human. Now, what I love about this approach, and why I keep coming back to it with clients, is it's sustainable. It respects the work that you've already done. It doesn't necessarily demand more time or creativity, and it works with real energy rather than against it. So that's today's episode, folks. If you've got blogs sitting on your website, please listen to this. You are already sitting on a private podcast. Yeah? And if you want to help turning blogs into private podcast episodes, to shape them properly, edit them cleanly, make them sound amazing, or perhaps you're building a private feed that you actually want to make sense, that's perfect, and that's exactly what I do. Just give me a shout. But even if you do nothing else after this episode, just go and look at your old blog posts, because you may get that inspiration to create something new, something fresh, and something that's going to grab attention and win you more clients. All right, that's it. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next week. Cheers, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Making Digital Real podcast. Until next time, keep innovating, keep growing, and keep making digital real.